Views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of KLAV.
Who says you can't go home? Welcome to Real Estate Exposed, brought to you by Exit Realty. Real Estate Exposed is all about helping homeowners and those who'd like to become homeowners and those who'd like to get into real estate. Now, let's bring on the hosts of Real Estate Exposed. Here's Brandon Roberts and Vandana Chiba.
Welcome to Real Estate Exposed, the Exit Realty radio show. I'm Vandana Chima, broker owner of Exit Realty Platinum Group.
And I'm Brandon Roberts, regional owner of Exit Realty here in Nevada.
So today we've got a pretty exciting show for you. We're talking all about short sales. It's going to be a 4-week series. But before we get to that, Brandon, do you have any listings you want to talk about?
Nope.
I do. Duh.
Mine are all sold.
They are?
Yes.
Well, I just got some really cool ones this week. But hold on. Yeah. Okay, we're going to start with the news you can use first with Kevin Liskey from Academy Mortgage. Kevin, are you there?
Yeah, wow, guys.
Good morning,
We're
Kevin.
organized today, I can see.
Duh.
Well, you know, it's just, she just flew in.
And boy, am I tired.
So what's going on with the news you can use today?
Well, you may have heard interest rates are low.
No.
No,
Stop
now we're even at more historical lows.
Really?
So, yep.
Oh, you weren't kidding?
Yep. No, I'm not. The bond markets continue to work in our favor. It has a lot to do with the calamity over in the European markets. I think the trend for the year, for the balance of the year, is that we're going to continue to experience low interest rates. So it's going to kind of be a non-subject, so let's focus on some things that people are going to be focusing on. I think that along with your theme of your 4-week short sale program, I think that one of the things that people need to know post short sale, after the realtor has taken care of the deficiency and all those good things, is when somebody can be eligible again to buy with financing. And I think that rather than go into the individual details of each product category, let's just deal in generalities, and then they can go to your website and get a handout that we call the eligibility clock. But I think that people need to understand that, you know, while it's a catastrophic situation to lose your house through a short sale and it doesn't feel good, you can actually recover from this and be eligible to buy in as quickly as a year. But more than likely, it'll be a 2 to 3 year process. So as you guys go through your 4 weeks of this topic, then we'll kind of bring some topical information into this and make it helpful for your sellers who are interested in being buyers again.
Can I back you up for a little bit? That was all
Sure.
Great, by the way. I'm going to back you up for just a minute. You said something about Europe. Why does that even affect us? I know we've talked about it on the show before.
It's called flight of capital or flight to safety. And if you are an investor who is looking for a safe place to put your money, and again, our financial markets are worldwide markets. If Europe is continuing to melt down, whereby you're buying, bonds in Spain or bonds, we obviously know the bonds in Greece are terrible, but bonds in any of the other sovereign countries in Europe, they have to continue to raise their interest rates. Would be a good thing for an investor, but it's also offset with, well, great, I'm terrific that I can get 7% on a Spanish bond, but if the Spanish government decides to bail out on the debt, what good is it going to do for me to collect 7% for short term, whereas I can go into the United States, invest in mortgage-backed securities, get a slightly less return, something in the 3 to 4% range, but I know it's backed by collateral and I know it's safe. And even as troubled as the U.S. economy is, U.S. Treasuries are rock solid right now because the United States government's never going to default on their debt. So, while we're going to have discussions in the latter portion of the year with respect to the debt ceiling and will the United States default on the debt, the bottom line is it's impossible for the United States to default on the debt because they'll continue to print money to repay back the debt. Now, obviously, reprinting money has other consequences associated with it, but we'll never default on the debt. It's impossible.
Okay.
So that's why something as small as the Greek economy can absolutely disrupt for the financial markets, because if there's a general sense that Greece is going to get tossed out of the European community and they're going to survive this, then you've got other countries who owe a significant amount of debt that are going to say, well, if Greece did it and it didn't impact them, then why don't we look at doing it? And, those countries include Spain and Portugal and Ireland. But the one that people are really kind of watching is what's Italy going to do? Because Italy's the third largest economy in Europe. And, if they decide that the European Union is not what they want to do, the whole thing can unravel pretty quickly. So that's the reason why European debt impacts the bond markets here. Because it's a flight to capital and a safe place to put your money.
And that's why you're my lender, because you can explain all that.
Yeah, exactly.
And you close loans on time.
I got to tell you, I'm great at a cocktail party.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah.
The girls must love you.
They do, which would explain my current dating situation.
So you actually sent over a form to me that that's going to be available on our website as well as on yours, and I wanted you to just talk about that form if you don't mind.
Each of the major product types, conforming or conventional loans, FHA and VA, all have different rules associated with when somebody would be eligible to borrow under that loan product. And then there's different types of financial distress. There's a short sale, there's a foreclosure, there's modifications, bankruptcies. Each one of those events inside of each product category may have a different time frame as to when somebody can be eligible again. For example, for FHA and a foreclosure, for foreclosure and a short sale, you're eligible in 3 years, but on a conforming loan or a conventional loan, you're not eligible for 7. So depending on the loan product and the type of event that you went through, you're going to have a different eligibility period. And these are for the main loan product categories. There are other niche products out there with individual lending institutions that may have their own guidelines. These are the main guidelines. But if your listeners have some specific questions or want to enter the market sooner than what's listed on here, have them give us a buzz and we can walk them through what their options are.
Gotcha. Perfect. Thank you so much. And how does someone get a hold of you, Kevin?
They can reach us at 702-743-5817, or they can pick up our information off your website as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thanks for calling in.
Okay, guys. Have a
Thanks,
good week.
Kevin.
You too.
Bye.
Alrighty. So
your listing of the week.
My listing of the week. Yes, let's do it. So we've got property address 6835 Wimberley Street, listed for $140,000, 1662 square feet on a 3920 square foot lot, 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. It's a 2-story home. It is a HUD home. It's extremely spacious, has a formal living room and a separate family room, large backyard, and very easy maintenance desert landscaping. And for those of you who like the MLS numbers, that is 126-3108. Again, 126-3108. You can find all of our listings at exitrealtyplatinumgroup.com and any HUD listings on HUDhomestore.com. There you go. There's my commercial right there.
Well, it feels good to be back on the air after 2 weeks off,
I
huh?
know, right?
It's a long vacation.
It's been a little awkward being away. I've missed you.
Yeah. I doubt that.
Well, I mean, let's talk a little bit about what's happened in 2 weeks with the market. Any clues? Any guesses, anyone? Do you think we're still at the same?
I think we're pretty much at the same.
Pretty much at the same.
That's my bet.
So, okay, let's talk inventory. So on the market right now, 5,331 homes. That's throughout all of the MLS, right? So, and I know that we break that down here, between here, so for Clark County itself, and in Clark County, there's 4,599 homes. Wow, we're right there. I mean, it was 46 before we left.
Mm-hmm.
And of those, there are 434 REO properties. And venture to guess how many short sales?
More than 400.
1,100.
Wow, so that's climbing a little.
That's climbed.
And the REOs have gone down a little.
I wonder why that is. Maybe we should find out. We've got a guest today in studio that's going to talk to us all about short sales.
That was clever.
I know, right? That's what happens when I get 2 weeks off. I say clever things. So we have Renee Smith with Smith and Associates. I'm sorry, Renee Smith Esquire, who's the president of Smith and Associates Title Services Incorporated. And Renee actually is a short sales specialist. And today we're going to talk a little bit about short sales, actually a lot about short sales, nothing but about short sales. Hi, Renee.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm excellent. Glad to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me on.
Absolutely. We appreciate you coming in. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Renee.
Okay, well, besides being a 15-year real estate attorney, so I have a broad background in real estate, in 2007 I began short sales and began actually with my own and realized a real need on the seller side of an understanding of what the process is, because really so much of short sales is beginning on faith that whoever you're working with knows what they're doing. Right. So that culminated into basically me starting my own. Smith and Associates is really dedicated towards being an advocate for the homeowners. We process short sales around the country now. We've now begun national processing. And I also wrote a book recently, Short Sales Guru Guide, which is actually geared again towards the homeowner, not to teach them how to short sale, but explain to them why it's such a wonderful opportunity. Really, I call it a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And I recently launched my show on Fox Channel 29 TV. I am the short sale guru on the show, and every week we talk about different tips for homeowners and realtors on how to make processing or dealing with their short sale easier. So it's really become a passion of mine, the short sale trend.
Nice. Well, very cool. And it's funny because not a lot of people really like dealing with short sales or dealing with the banks, but you've not only delved into to helping homeowners understand short sales, but really processing as well.
Well, I think one of the advantages I had, first off, having gone through the process myself and negotiated it myself, was really an eye-opener. And again, you're going to pull on my training as a lawyer. I started out in litigation, so it gave me a really good viewpoint of the legal documents, of what I was facing, et cetera, and so forth, which brought a unique way of looking at the whole short sale system. One of the important things to remember about banks is they're system-oriented. Mm-hmm. Once you understand the system, they didn't reinvent the wheel with short sale processing. They just altered an internal system. And once you understand that system, it makes it a lot less frustrating. And of course, in the back of my mind, and one of the things that I encourage my staff, which are absolutely amazing women and very dedicated to this as well as helping homeowners, is the negotiator for the bank that you're talking to on the line is really just trying to pay their mortgage and feed their kids, and it's just a job. And though it's frustrating as the homeowner because it's very personal to you, it's your family's roof, it's, potentially the only place you can see yourself living. So it's easy to become frustrated with the quote-unquote bank, which is an it. Mm-hmm. But the person on the line, and I have to say that 95% of all the bank negotiators I work with are doing 110% the best they can. And that is really an encouragement. And again, and once you understand that system going into it, it kind of decompresses the stress level, which helps quite a bit.
And we're using the term short sale quite a bit. I'm sorry, Brendan, did you have
something? No, I just think, I was going to kind of go along the same lines as you. She's going to be here for 4 weeks, but we use the term short sale and we throw that around like everybody understands what that is. Is that kind of where you were going?
Yep, pretty much, exactly. And
see,
that's why we're
haven't
friends.
Lost it.
That's why we're friends. So can you get into what exactly is a short sale?
Well, and that's actually one of the best questions to ask, because you're absolutely right. Everybody reads the headlines what a short sale is, and a lot of people say that doesn't have anything to do with me. So I'm going to kind of break down in practical terms what it means to different people. To a seller, all a short sale is a reverse loan approval, period. You know how I just mentioned that banks are systems? All they've done is created a system based on how you got the loan to undo the loan. Meaning, all the documents you sent them to be approved to get the home, you now have to send them for them to unapprove you, quote unquote. So once I explained that to the sellers, that because they're asking for all this information and it's so intrusive, I said, yeah, but you gave that to them to buy.
Right.
So you're really just doing the same thing in reverse, hoping that they forgive you thousands of dollars, hopefully hundreds of thousands of dollars. To a lender, a short sale really is a loss mitigation process in order to increase liquidity. And what does that mean? And it was great that you started with the guest you did this morning leading into this, because one of the reasons why everybody always asks, why would they forgive me, all this money? Something to understand, banks are in the money business. They really aren't doing this out of the goodness of their heart. It helps them. And that sellers can use this, obviously, in order to process their short sale. But for a lender, on a loan modification, they're losing about 10% of the mortgage value. On a short sale, you're looking at about 15 to 20% of the mortgage value being lost. On an REO, they're at 60% of a loss. Okay? One of the great things you brought up is the reason that short sales are now 1,100, right, versus REOs. This is the trend. I just came back. I was at the REO Expo in Fort Worth, Texas, a couple weeks ago, and met with the banks. Chase was there, Wells Fargo was there, some of the big servicers. They said short sales are the new REO. And the reason why is a short sale to the banks is a way for them to liquidate these loans and get a higher return, as well as increase their liquidity to turn around and do what banks do well, lend money. Because we all know that if there's a higher default rate, they have to hold back reserves, right? Well, that comes into what is a short sale to the community. Well, what that does is a short sale to the community is a way to basically move stagnant home property as well as free up lending capital for other people in the market. Now, starting out with the numbers you started in Clark County is pretty amazing, because even though you were saying there's 400 REOs and 1,100 short sales, that still means there's 3,000 homes out there that are being sold.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Well, those 3,000 sellers want 3,000 buyers who can get a loan. Right? So in order to free up that lending capital, the banks need to get this backlog of defaulting loans off their books, freeing up that market. So for the community, a short sale is the best option in dealing with these properties versus foreclosure. And we can get into that later. But one of, I guess, the bigger winners to me, and one of the things that I'm always happy to see as well, is the buyers. This is really a viable option for buyers to get what the industry calls, quote unquote, a distressed property. But most of the time in short sales, you're going from an end user to an end user. What that means for a buyer is there's a refrigerator in the kitchen. There's a microwave there. Someone's been paying the electric bill. Somebody's been keeping the pool up. Versus an REO, which in some cases, yes, have been maintained, but in a lot of cases, no. There may be more repairs needed than a lot of buyers can afford on a move-in. So, that for a short sale, in practical terms, I like to use the reasons they're a benefit to the different parties.
Yeah, I just, the short sale is a good process, and it's not short time. It takes a long time to get these closed, or it has in the past. What is your experience are you seeing on the time frames of getting these approved now?
Our goal is 90 days. But let me, use that caveat, because your response is not uncommon for realtors or homeowners that are tremendously frustrated with the process. There's two things I like to remind people with short sales. Putting in a complete package from the beginning to the bank is extremely important. Each one of these negotiators at your bank is dealing with thousands of people, okay? So the important thing is to try to get them what's known as a quote-unquote complete package, so it makes their job easier. We all know the easier their job is, the faster it is for them to process.
Right.
The other thing I tell sellers and realtors is a lot of times the bank comes back and asks for updated information. This is not uncommon. Or different lenders have different internal forms that they need executed by the parties. Any delay in returning those forms, multiply by 2. Okay, so if the lender sends you an RMA form to have executed and it takes you 2 weeks to get back, you've almost delayed your short sale a month. Because what happens is it takes you out of the queue. If you had gotten it, they normally say we want it back in 24 hours. Yeah, because the file will stay on her desk for 24 hours. Then she works on someone else's file who's returning their forms quickly. So a lot of times, though I can say I've worked with banks and it's been frustrating, I have an opinion that there's a lot of internal financial mechanisms for sometimes how quickly they approve short sales. But a lot of times we've been very successful. I mean, I had one short sale. We got a full package to the lender December 11th and closed December 29th. That is possible and it happens. But the more organized you are, the quicker it goes. And then one other caveat on short sales, and a trend that's happening and that was really explained to us in Fort Worth, is it's coming back to the nets that the banks are getting. Banks are beginning to streamline the process to the point where it used to be, they come out and they do what's known as a BPO, broker price opinion, to verify that the offer price is market value. And a lot of times they'll counter that, but really what they're looking at now, at least the big ones, like Chase was saying, is the net to them. They want to be sure the net in the short sale is higher than a net in an REO, period. So what does that mean for savvy realtors? Really your goal is a higher net to the banks. So a lot of times you can work with different avenues that I've been successful that banks will agree to instead of increasing the sales price, which a lot of times increase the costs on the seller side. So like increasing the sales price by $1,000 may only result in a higher net for the lender of $800. Have the lender authorize the buyer to just directly contribute to the payoff, so that every $1,000 the buyer is giving goes directly to the payoff. It benefits the buyer, obviously, because then they have a lower tax base. And it impacts the entire short sale because it goes quicker. Coming back to your original question, these are the keys, and the things that I'm talking about now as far as speed is why little tips like this on my show or on websites or with other people who practice this go a long way for practicing realtors like both of you to make sure that your short sale is done quickly so you keep your buyer.
Got it. Now, we also, we should probably take a break, huh? Okay, we're going to take a break. So we've come to that time in our show to take our first break. You're listening to Real Estate Exposed, the Exit Realty radio show. If you have questions for Brandon, myself, or our guests, you can ask them on Real Estate Exposed Facebook fan page or call in at 731-1230 or toll free at 866-820-5528. Thanks so much.
Easy 'cause of you.
Did you know that Las Vegas is one of the top 10 cities to live in with the most break-ins? You can do something to prevent that by calling Fusion 3. We have the most up-to-date technology that allows you to view, monitor, arm, and disarm your alarm system from your smartphone. All of our techs are certified techs. We have 24/7 monitoring, and all of our guards are armed guards. For more information, please call our office at 702-220-3591, 702-220-3591, or visit us online at fusion3lv.com. That's Fusion, the number 3lv.com.
Chances are you or somebody you know is facing the possibility of foreclosure. Today, 1 out of 8 homeowners in America are behind on mortgage payments. These are tough and frustrating times, but here's what you need to understand. You're not alone. Now more than ever, it's important to identify your options. Foreclosure can be avoided, your credit can be saved, and your financial future can be salvaged. As a certified distressed property expert, I know that there are solutions available to you and your family. I'm here to help. If you would like to know more about your options, please call Brandon Roberts at 702-413-3200, 702-413-3200.
Have you ever dreamt of owning your own home? Let Exit Realty and our team of professionals help make that dream a reality. There's no better time to buy than now. Search the entire MLS on our website at exitrealtynevada.com.
Hi, I'm Kevin Liskey.
And I'm John Roanoke from Academy Mortgage, the #1 independent mortgage banker in America.
We are your mortgage banker in Las Vegas.
We finance home purchases as well as refinances.
We specialize in FHA, conventional, and VA home loans.
Actually, we specialize in closing those loans on time. To find out what you qualify for today, please call us at 702-743-5817.
That's 702-743-5817. Just in case you missed that, because John talks a little fast, that's 702-743-5817.
It's an incredible time to buy a home. Hi, I'm Vandana Chima with Exit Realty Platinum Group, your local listing broker for HUD Homes. With so many properties flooding the market, now is the best time to buy a home. To get a free list of HUD Homes, call me at 702-401-1404. That's 702-401-1404. Or visit my website at www.realtorvandana.com.
Equal housing opportunity.
Welcome back. You're listening to Real Estate Exposed, the Exit Realty radio show. I'm Vandana Chima, along with co-host Brandon Roberts, and we have today Renee Smith, Esquire, in studio with us.
And if you have any questions, our phone lines will be open at 702-731-1230, or you can reach us toll-free at 866-820-5528. And you can always visit us on our website, LasVegasRealEstateExposed.com, to get in contact with us, our guests, and our partners.
Yep, and don't forget, we do have this show playing again on Saturdays. What time are we at now? 3 o'clock?
3 o'clock
on Saturday. Yeah, last I heard.
Just listen all day.
Saturdays. Yeah, just listen all day. We'll be on at some point. And then we also have it archived at
therealestatepad.com.
Perfect. Thanks so much. All right, getting back with Renee Smith, Esquire, in regards to short sales. We talked about how short sales are a win-win for pretty much the seller as well as for the banks. So let's talk a little bit about the communities that we're in.
And this is, I think, an issue that's been underplayed. But it's, again, coming back to the numbers, and I was so glad you led the show with those, a quarter of the listed properties are short sales, 25%. So that means 1 out of every 4 houses for sale is somehow impacting our community, period. A lot of these houses, obviously, not only are they delinquent in their mortgages, God bless the sellers, but they probably are not able to maintain the home to a level that they would if they were financially able. They also are probably delinquent to their associations, and this trickle effect into the community really has not been measured to date. So what does a short sale do to positively change that trend? Well, first off, with your associations, you're going to get the past due paid much quicker. A lot of the lenders have standards on how much they will pay at the time of closing, but a lot of times they will end up netting much more than they would if the property went all the way through to a trustee sale, as well as the fact that the home is being maintained. Again, if we're talking 1 in 4 homes for sale, that means that probably every neighborhood here in Las Vegas has a home that's been foreclosed and has sat vacant for a period of time that they don't want their children to play next to because it's been unkept. The pool's green. It's really become an eyesore or blight to the community, and the association is really powerless until that's resold to an end user. How much more for a short sale, which you can say whatever you want about short sales taking too long, they're still taking a lot less time than by the time the house has been foreclosed upon and ultimately resold to an end user buyer.
Right, and I see the banks are moving quicker on the short sales. Mm-hmm. But, with you saying that the homeowners associations would net more money, I don't think they're getting that because they're really tacking on the fees, and they're really making it difficult sometimes to close these short sales. And I've actually lost a couple because the HOAs would not negotiate at all, and the banks won't pay what they're asking.
Actually, and that's one of the things when I first do what I call intake or meet with the short sale sellers is past due association fees are the number one short sale killer. There's just no way around it. You're sitting at the closing table and you're short in some cases, tens of thousands of dollars. Mm-hmm. I really, we were talking before the show went on that I do a lot of blogging on this issue. I'm a member of several LinkedIn groups for homeowners associations, really trying to get them, like you said, educated about the need of working with these homeowners and trying to vote in a policy of reaching out and saying, look, if you short sale your home and you cooperate and short sale the home in a year, we'll work with you on the past due amount so that you can close. Again, the association is directly impacted, as are the neighbors, mm-hmm. by a short sale. If none of the homes in your neighborhood went to foreclosure and they all were short sale within a year of being delinquent, your property values will be much higher than the neighboring community. You as a neighbor should reach out kindly to whomever you know is struggling and suggest to them meeting with a realtor about short sales. Because, as much as that is obviously helping your neighbor, I love that, help your neighbor suggest a short sale, it's really helping you. Now you're not living next door to a home that's going to be boarded up or abandoned. You're not living next to the green pool. You're not living next to that for a year at a time. And you've also helped that neighbor. A lot of times, even now, the banks are becoming, much more educated on giving cash incentives for people to move. So again, coming back to the win-win philosophy, you as the neighbor, you win, you get a new owner in there. The association wins because the new owner starts paying the maintenance fees immediately, and you've maintained the property values in the community for everybody. The other individuals, or actually participants that are a huge winner in short sales, are the cities and the counties. Again, I really think that we should begin pushing the cities and counties to help educate homeowners. The cities are able to avoid blighted properties. And why does that matter to the city? Well, a lot of times they have to go out and take care of the yards or the trash, right? Well, that comes out of everybody's pocket. Mm-hmm. Right? Because the homeowner isn't paying any of the city fees. The homeowner isn't paying for the violations. They don't have any money to do that. So the city is now bearing that cost, or the county. Because if they can't pay their mortgage, they aren't paying the property taxes.
Right.
Right? So a short sale, what does a short sale do? Well, first off, at the time of closing, any violations have to be fixed, any past due city fees have to be fixed, past due taxes have to be paid, versus a foreclosure. That doesn't happen on the courthouse steps. Right?
Right.
The other thing, the more that we're seeing short sales increase in our community, the less need for the city to spend that money to maintain foreclosed homes. The pulling on those tax dollars is a lot less, so there's more funds for them to do what the city is meant to do, which is improve the parks, improve the schools. So again, they're a huge beneficiary to the short sale process. And of course also the service industries. Because a short sale is a normal sale to everybody but the bank, you have your realtors who have more inventory to sell. Mm-hmm. You have property inspectors, property appraisers. You have contractors, because new home buyers want to put in the built-in closets, they want to paint the living room, you have more pool service. Every kind of trickle down you would have in a normal market, you'll have as short sales increase. Typically with REO properties, the maintenance of that property is limited to certified property management companies, and normally it's the minimum needed to maintain that property. So you, obviously in a short sale, you're going to impact a lot more service industry in your community than you would. And that's why, again, short sales really are a community benefit all the way around. And I encourage each one of those participants, even though they're not the short sale seller, to really encourage people that they know who are having a tough time to pursue short sale as an option.
You got to be careful with that, though. We've got agents that are continually out there knocking on doors and even sending out postcards and stuff like that, trying to generate business and educate the public that there's options. And it seems more and more that we're getting homeowners that got a piece of mail in the mail from one of the realtors calling up irate that they got sent something. Like, I don't need this, I don't need the help, and all that type of stuff, where I wonder if they're calling everybody that sends them junk mail, but are they taking this too personal? Or?
Well, the tough thing about, I'm doing a training class for realtors on short sales, and one of the first topics we talked about is reaching out to the homeowner. And one of the reasons I'm very passionate about the short sale is I really feel like I'm helping people. And you touched on something that's very true. Most people in the short sale that are listing their home for short sale have undergone some kind of personal loss situation, whether it be, someone in the home lost their job or an income reduction, death in the family, divorce, they have to move, job relocation, so they're being upheaved, and then put an extra stress level on it that now they're very afraid because if they sell their house, they don't have enough money to pay back the money they borrowed. And I think the lack of credible education about the short sale option has led to what you're dealing with, is a fear-based mentality. And I don't blame them. You know, a lot of people are just trying to feed their kids, send them to school, and keep a roof over their head. And now they're facing being underwater on their mortgage by $150,000, $200,000. And they don't know who to turn. And of course, the other thing that's happened, I support the fact that the media has really gotten out the fact that there are fraudsters out there. And it is a very needed I guess, message that people should be aware of who they're working with. But what I think it's created is, again, in a situation where the listing seller is already afraid that his family's going to be homeless and that they can't feed the children, this has created they're stuck. They're unable to do something, which is why I say God bless the internet. And I tell everybody to visit websites like yours or mine at smithtitleservices.com. No pressure sale. You can look at the information out there, know it's credible. You can email questions to people so that you're able to begin the learning process. But I will agree with you. And I will say, too, as much as fraud is a concern, two of the big markets I'm in obviously Florida and Nevada, Las Vegas. Fraud has been a big issue, especially in the mortgage arena. And that's, there's a lot of causes for it, but the media wanting to address that is good, but really fraud is only 1 to 5% of what we're seeing in the short sale market. So we don't want to overplay that. But I would say to homeowners to do their research on who they're planning to work with. If people are asking for upfront fees, make sure you talk to your Better Business Bureau or get recommendations from other people that they've worked with so that you feel comfortable that you're getting something for what you're paying for. But don't, as they say, throw out the baby with the bathwater. Don't refuse to look at short sale as an option because you've heard so many negative things about different people in the industry who's given us all a bad name.
Yeah, and there's a lot of programs out there to help the homeowner, and they may not be aware of them, but realtors, we take a lot of time to get educated on these things, and as we're out there trying to help, that's all we're trying to do. I mean, we've got an agent I was talking to yesterday in our company that she's meeting with a gentleman that absolutely wants to stay in his home, and he's just in between work, basically. But there's a program out there that will help subsidize his mortgage payments, and she's going to be able to help him get enrolled in that program and see if we can get him qualified for that so that he can keep his home. Ultimately, if it doesn't happen, he's probably going to have to short sell the home. But there's programs out there, and I think if you're just so closed off, the problem's not going to go away.
Of course. Well, and 99% of the realtors I work with are wonderful people. It's why they're in the industry you're in, right? You want to help people find new properties and homes, and you truly want to help your sellers, whether that's a traditional sale or a short sale. And that's why I say, again, for all those homeowners out there that are thinking about short sale, go to someone you trust, talk to your lawyer or your realtor who sold you the home, whoever it is, and get qualified information, but don't be afraid. There are people out there, like you were saying with the other agent in your office, who will even spend time helping you on something that they may not ultimately get a commission for this year, but they truly want to help someone new. And I think that that's a really great thing that she's doing.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that need help, and short sale isn't always the best bet for them. So a lot of it depends on what your goals are and stuff, but sitting down with a true professional that understands what's going on, like yourself or certain realtors, I wouldn't say just anybody out there, check references, different things like that. Make sure you're dealing with somebody that understands the process, because a lot of times the slowness of the short sale is due to the fact that the realtor handling the deal doesn't understand what to do.
And that's true too. And I would say, first off, like any kind of area you get in, you have to start. Like me in 2007, working with my own. I can't say that was a speedy thing.
Well, it was 2007. The banks had no idea what they were doing, let alone the realtors.
I call it the Wild West, I'll tell you. And it really was the Wild West. You have no idea. I could laugh about some of the conversations I had with my banks on it. But you're right. And I think that the knowledge is key. I love to do homeowner presentations, exactly that. Knowledge is knowing that tomatoes are fruit. Wisdom is knowing not to put them in fruit salad. You can have a lot of information.
I love that.
You know what, though? I was watching a cooking show called Chopped the other day, and the guy said that, and he still put the tomatoes in the fruit salad.
That would freak me out.
But
I'm sorry.
It turned out good.
I could so not do that. But that's what I say to my homeowners, don't just accept knowledge. Actually get wisdom, get a plan on, working with realtors. You can plan out your short sale about where you're going to move and, cash incentives. There's a lot on there. But that's why it comes back to why the second question was so important. This is a community issue. It is a community issue. Churches can help support, members of their parish by having, coffee clutches after the Sunday service, helping them meet people who are trustworthy that they can speak to about these issues. Clubs, have something for the homeowners in your club that are struggling. Homeowners associations, help your neighbor. You've lived in the same community with these people and now you're trying to force them out of their home. No, reach out to them. It works for you as the community and the neighbor. Mm-hmm. I really believe short sales are the grassroots way to fix our housing market. I truly believe the legislature was right in standing up for the homeowners, a lot of who got into these mortgage unknowing that they were going to become, adjustable or whatever, by making the lenders go an extra mile for foreclosure. But at the same time, it slowed down the normal market indicators and is creating a backlog of a lot of these properties. I'd like to see the cities, counties, and the state start encouraging homeowners to short sale. And giving them, like you said, the education. Yes, there's other viable options, but if you go on, there's been a lot of education about loan mods, a lot of talk about how you can refinance your house, but I don't think there's been a lot of government information that's credible about where people can go locally to get short sale information from someone they trust. And I'd like to see the legislature do that as well.
Nice. Well, we're going to take our second break right now. We'll be right back. You're listening to Real Estate Exposed, the Exit Realty radio show with Vandana Chima and Brandon Roberts. And our guest today, Renee Smith, Esquire. We'll be back.